Right, call the order, the Lisbon Village Board meeting on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026.
I got 6:33 p.m.
All right, roll call, please.
President Gerke,
Here.
Trustee Moonen,
Here.
Trustee Baum,
Here.
Trustee Quinn,
Here.
Trustee Beal,
Here.
Administrator Green,
Here.
and Clerk Capazzo to record the minutes.
Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance and moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 are citizen comments. Anyone want to state anything? I'm guessing not. Anyone on Zoom?
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak during citizen comment, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, item 4 is the consent agenda. Unless there's anything that someone would like to pull off of here, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I will make a motion to present the consent agenda as proposed.
Second. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item 5A is to authorize the payments of the one correct bills dated December 23rd, in the amount of $2,057.66. Is a motion on that item?
I make a motion to authorize the payment of the one-foot bill paid 12/23 for $2,057.60. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Item 5 is authorized payment to remaining bills dated December 23rd for $512,192.10 and January 9th for $137,156.80.
Top 5 expenditures for December 23rd bills is City of Pewaukee for $184,541.67. US Bancorp for $151,629.51. Fujiwa Enterprises Inc. for $70,000. Compass Minerals for $57,976.17. And Village of Sussex for $13,160.75. And top 5 for January 9th bills is Compass Minerals for $26,792.74. Terracon Consultants for $20,500. Kunkel Engineering for $8,916.73. Cassell LLC for $8,515.14, and We Energies for $7,168.88.
All right, is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the remaining bills.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, please. For whatever reason, it's in purple for utility. And I know at one time they put down like it was for Richmond School, for the village or whatever. Could you do that again, please? So when I always look over the payments here and I question them, but if I don't have to question, if I know that they belong to Richmond School, you know, or the fire station, so if you could specify that, I would really appreciate it, Lisa. But they just say utility.
Yeah, so those were reclasses, so I did take a look at those bills. On these, they have marked as utility, but not the full amount was directly for utility. It was broken up to portions of it were the TID and a portion of it was part of the general fund.
That's from the email. Okay, well, thank you.
So
Okay.
yeah, I can at least for the Kunkel bill is gonna be the biggest one. I'll just send you the bill and have it highlighted what's utility and what's not.
I would love that also. And then could you please let us know who the great pump replacement was for $1,100? You can just give me an address or a name.
I'll email you.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Thank you. That's my questions.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6 are announcements and correspondence. We have the Public Works and Utility Committee meeting coming up next Wednesday, the 21st, here at the Village Hall, 5 o'clock. Joint public hearings and plan commission meeting Wednesday, the 28th, at 6:30 at the Richard Young Fire Station. You want to jump in on the joint public hearings? You've got that?
Yep, so in our rotation, it would be trustee Moonen for this meeting.
So everyone's encouraged to attend, but we need a third at least. The Parks Committee meeting next a month from now, on February 11th at 5 o'clock here at the Village Hall. And then the Village Board meeting at 6:30 on the 11th.
We did receive confirmation last week that there will be a primary election on Tuesday, February 17th for anyone in the Hamilton School District. That will occur at all 3 of our polling places, but it only is for about half of our voters.
All right. And that's 7 to 8.
Yep, 7 a.m. until 8 p.m.
All right, any other announcements or correspondence to note? All right, let's move on to item 7, which is the administrator report.
I have a pretty quick report tonight. So the architecture survey has gone out. It went out in late December. So for anybody that hasn't done it yet, it's on our website. I encourage you to do it and encourage you to let Lisbon residents know to do it as well. I think we're up to around 100 so far, so the more the better. We did have a GFL change that would be brought up in the last couple of meetings for just over 500 residents in the village where their garbage schedule changed. That went pretty smoothly. We only had a few phone calls of just some confusion on when their day was. But otherwise that everything's cleaned up and good to go. So that was pretty successful on GFL's part to get the information out as well as our website. And just some update on the baseball diamond. I went over there last week. The diamond's coming along. The fence posts are in. The fence hasn't been installed yet. The concrete slabs were poured for the bleachers and for the the dugouts. The foul poles and the bases have been ordered, so those will be installed in the spring. And then Lake Country Municipal Court met just as an update that they added one more community to their court, which is Palmyra. So a resolution will be coming to the village board to officially adopt to allow the new community in. That's my report.
Will they be resubmitting a 26 budget, or how are they gonna soak that new community in?
They're just talking, they didn't really talk about a new budget. They did talk about how they had around $4,000 shortfall this year. And so they anticipate with the new community that'll probably break even for next year then to account for some of that, but no talk of a new budget being proposed.
Also, that park survey button was working on the website.
Okay, I'll take a look. It's from the main page.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just brings you to it and it says. Takes less than 5 minutes, and that's it.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Weird.
It was working, but something we had.
I got it to work last week.
I don't even see a button that take the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't take it yet, but I did go down that route, and I was able to take it if I would have had the time to see it through, and but that was before, I think, the new year, so that was.
Yeah, your dad
There's
took
no
it.
button
I
to
know.
search.
Yeah, he gave me some feedback on it.
He gave me some feedback.
And I pointed him in that direction, so.
Much appreciated.
All right, any questions for Dan on his report? All right, so we have 3 more items here. All the we have individuals here for at least 2 of them. You want to keep it in order here, or do we want, there was a suggestion that we should maybe take Item 9B at this time.
Sure,
What's the board's,
Yeah, taking some time.
all right. All right, so Ben, you wanna
Yeah.
step up and we'll,
Thank you, everyone, for having me back. I'm gonna give you an update on the water supply feasibility study. You can go right ahead to the next slide when you're ready.
There we go.
Okay, so just a reminder on our overall objective here is to better understand the feasibility of municipal water to key areas. So if you can squint, you can see the yellow outline of the entire area here. We did some high level updates of cost opinions for that whole area. Is well over $25 million to serve the whole thing. So what's highlighted there or outlined in red is what we're calling the critical area. To get that area converted to municipal water. We discussed the extent of this with Land and Stone Products. Land and Stone has independently done their own geologic studies, and that's the area that they feel is most at risk of having private well supplies impacted by their quarry operations. So we quickly honed in on that to try to see if we could, in a cost-effective way, get water service to just that critical area. Next slide. So this shows a little more detail of that area specifically. So on the far north extent there is Town Line Road. The Village of Sussex has plans to bring water main down almost to the municipal boundary there. Excuse me. And then we'd go straight down to Lisbon Road or County Highway K, over on K, down through the existing subdivision there on East and West View Drive. And then we also realized we would have to take water main down those couple of private drives. I believe is it East Drive? Get the names of those private drives right there. The big open fields just south of the quarry and east of the railroad tracks there. Not planning any municipal water service or not putting any water mains there, but if municipal water service was available along the eastern boundary of that property, then if a developer goes in there, they would be responsible for just extending those mains at their own cost. Very typical practice. Let's see, over on the east end, water main would go down Town Line Road to the intersection at Wire. Now you can kind of see a lighter blue and black dashed line all along Wire Road. The city of Pewaukee has water main already existing in Wire Road. And what we talked about is rather than looping new municipal water main parallel on Wire Road, that, hey, regardless of who the supplier is, these 4 parcels that are highlighted in yellow, could they just tap right onto that existing water main? The answer is yes. So what we've kind of tried to do, forgive me, I'm going to step away from the mic and over to the board for a second. What we've done to kind of scale back the scope of this and make it more cost effective is we're not putting water main where there are no customers. So the big initial overall plan, there was conceptually shown water main continuing to go on County K. But instead, we've got some stubs here that if a similar subdivision were to develop here, they would just pull off of these stubs and kind of keep it in here. And then that helps kind of protect the project from what else is on your agenda tonight, which is making major grade changes at the intersection of, well, where County K crosses the railroad. So the last thing we want to do is put water main in this area and then have the county tell us, oh, you got to move your water main. So that helps to keep us away from there. And then again, we're not running parallel water main down here on Wire at all. There's no need for that. One of the
so Ben, I don't want to keep it,
Yeah,
on
go
going,
ahead.
but on that exact point with that large vacant lot there that we'd have stubbed on the sides. right now, as I'm sure you're aware, it is in our land use plan for residential.
Sure.
But there's been talk, we're revisiting the land use plan and that might turn to be industrial. We're
Okay.
not sure as a board.
Sure.
But that would not affect the way you would develop this one way or
Yeah.
the other?
Correct, it would not affect that, and here's why. So we actually just, for the sake of coming up with conceptual demands for this area, we assumed a subdivision at a similar density as the one that exists right adjacent to it, and that gets us into the ballpark. But then we actually made a computer model of the water system so that we could simulate what fire flows would be available, and the water mains are actually sized to provide the fire flow. So for example, for residential areas, the target fire flow is 1,500 gallons per minute. And then over here at the church, the target's 2,500 gallons per minute. So we've sized the water mains to be able to deliver that at any point in time. That's far in excess of the flow rate that even in industry would use, let alone a subdivision. So it'll have the capacity to do so. So another concept here is initially with a fuller scope project, we're thinking of trying to figure out a way to loop water mains, you know, further west on K and back up to Sussex or something to that extent. The advantage of doing a loop is that you have redundancy. Okay, so if there's a water main break, it can get shut off and isolated, and then the loop would still allow customers to have water fed to them from either directions. That's no doubt best practice, but what we can do here is we actually have the city of Pewaukee system here and the village of Sussex up here. We can do an emergency interconnect. So what that means is, let's say Sussex were the primary supplier here, and all the water is coming down this one line on Town Line before it kind of disperses over here. Let's say there was a water main break here, what would you do? Well, you would have an emergency interconnect with the city of Pewaukee where you can just open that up and get this system fed. So it's not as automatic as having a loop system, but it sure saves a lot of dollar value of water main to be able to have it operate or function that way. So next slide, please. So once we had that initial concept laid down back in September, we did a high-level opinion of probable construction costs for this critical area with the minimal mains. We did a rooftop count of 104 total properties and the private property work of converting from wells to the municipal source, including public lateral, just kind of estimated some unit costs. Measured the water main length just using GIS and kind of added contingencies and professional services and came up with about 10.3 million. We checked in with Land and Stone Products at that time, and that's more, sounds like getting closer to the ballpark of the amount of money that they put up. So much so that we felt confident of, let's take some more steps to add detail to this, which I'll talk through on the next slide here. So since that time in September, geotechnical borings were completed. I believe that was that invoice from Terracon. Initial meetings to discuss the technical aspects of this were held with each Sussex and separately with the city of Pewaukee. We put together 30% engineering plans. One strategy that we took was putting the water main outside of the pavement width, where it would be open trench excavation, but it would just be turf grass restoration instead of doing a asphalt trench patch within the roadway to try and save some costs. And then we actually did draft quantities in a bid form to solicit input from contractors. Next slide. So this is an example of the 30% design that we went through. This is just one plan sheet that shows the horizontal alignment over top of some aerials to give contractors an idea of what's going on here. We actually came up with quantities of where you're crossing driveways and have to patch those driveways or replace culverts. And then on the bottom half of that sheet, you can see the vertical alignment showing the depth of bury. And then we took what was just, about 4 line items in our high level cost opinion and came up with 25 different line items for very specific categories and quantities for contractor input. Next slide. So the updated cost opinion is much lower. So we kind of updated that total water main length line item, and that's come down quite a bit to 4.36 million. After adding contingencies and everything else, we're looking at a total project cost that's down to approximately 8 million. I think that's certainly within the realm of what Land and Stone Products is willing to fund. You can go ahead to the next slide. So keys to that lowered cost opinion, again, we moved the water main outside of the pavement. Geotechnical helps understand bedrock impacts, and actually typically the bedrock is approximately 12 feet deep. So we're only digging the water main trench to about 7.5 feet deep. So that's great. 30% design and contractor input helps really get some more granular definition to those cost opinions. The contingency though is still at 20% at this stage. That's to account for inflation from right now until 2027 would be the soonest reasonable construction year. And then we still don't understand in full the hookup or connection fees that might be charged by either Sussex or Pewaukee. And that's kind of still accounted for in the individual private property cost, but in case there's something unforeseen there, it's still will hopefully fit within that contingency. Next one. And then overall, this is the full scope that was initially started with on a concept level, and it's color coded based on what makes the most sense as far as who would be supplying the water, either Sussex or the city of Pewaukee. Now, it was initially thought that one of those municipalities would supply this entire thing, but after we looked at it and then had meetings each with Sussex and Pewaukee, it became obvious that a split system would make the most sense. So yellow is what makes the most sense to be served by Sussex, and yet red is Pewaukee. If it's yellow with red hatched, that means it would make sense to be served by Sussex, but could be served by Pewaukee. And then where it's red but yellow hatched, thank you, it makes the most sense to be served by Pewaukee, but could be served by Sussex. The reason why most of the red area makes sense for Pewaukee, as you can see, existing water mains on Wire Road and to the south. They already have looped water mains to that area. If water service was ever expanded west of the tracks to the existing industrial park in the future, it would just make sense. Pewaukee has the right size water mains to be able to handle that. On the west end, where it's all yellow, Village of Sussex has, almost the inverse situation. City of Pewaukee doesn't have existing water mains in that area, but Village of Sussex does. And that area would be looped nicely into their system into the future. And then right in the center of this, we actually have a red X. And that's a large length of water main there on County Highway K, where it frankly only goes past Paulquist showroom. And it's just really expensive to run that length of water main just to pick up one customer. So the thought is just not have that be served by municipal water at all. We're thinking they're a quarry operator, so they get it. They can probably handle that. So I think that's it on this, but I want to stop and ask if there's any questions on this overall strategy.
Yeah, in the second iteration, how did we move to a like plus 2,500 feet of water main line?
Yeah, that's a good question. In the initial round, we did not account for the two private drives. Whereas now and that's real specifically this stretch here and this stretch here, we missed that in the first pass.
And then there's 11 houses on that, then is that what? There's 103 to 114 as well.
That's a good question. I don't know if it's 11, it might be less than that, but we just might
You found some,
pick something up in account, yeah.
so on that map though, so with Pewauk, I think when we went into this, the thought was that Sussex was going to be the fit, they had a willingness, they had a better system that had more confidence, that there was concerns with Pewaukee. Again, we get along great with both now, so
Sure.
we want to do what makes the most sense, but
Yeah.
and I thought that Pewaukee had some other obstacles. I think you addressed that in here someplace, or
Yeah, if we go on to the next slide, I can talk about some of those other factors to consider here. So this gets into the next steps. I think where we're at right now is we have the scope of the project narrowed down to this critical service area that I'm gonna not put Nate formally on the spot here, but Land Stone's generally in agreement that would be the critical area to get served. We're confident in the scope of that, technically how it would be done, what size water mains, how many services, and that it could be served by either municipality. So the next step here is a formal water service request to the supplier. So in our initial meetings with each Sussex and Pewaukee, it was at a staff level with their city engineer, administrator, public works, depending on which municipality. But it was like, this all makes sense. Technically, we're on board, but they'll have to take it to their either public works committee or village board or common council. In order to kind of get authorization to really make official decisions. So that formal water service request to each of them would be asking them what kind of terms and conditions they would have for a potential water service agreement. Putting in writing what the actual connection fees would be, and then there's non-monetary factors that you as a village board will have to consider. And some of those issues, I know the city of Pewaukee, for example, is considering potentially switching to Lake Michigan water, and does that open the area up to some sort of influence from the Milwaukee area or anything like that? Those are all issues to kind of get vetted out after a formal request is made. And then we can consider what might be deal breakers, what issues might be most important to you. Of course, we want to understand water rates to see for these people that are going to be on the water system, to see what's going to leave them in a better position long term also.
and so that would be not just current water rates, but anticipated future water rates. I mean, if city of Pewaukee goes with Milwaukee system, I imagine that's going to come with an increase.
Yeah,
The cost is pretty substantial.
right. And just because I know this, we're working on the city of Pewaukee's plan. Even if they stay on their groundwater system, they're going to have to invest a lot of money with advanced treatment to handle their PFAS issues. So it's kind of going to be expensive either way. And we got to have a similar conversation with Sussex to see what's their perhaps 20-year capital improvement plan look like. What does that mean as far as potential changes on their water rates down the road? But what I envision doing after we send out these service request letters is we would have another meeting with each community, and we would kind of write down what are the critical factors, both monetary and non-monetary. And we'd actually do, we'll call it a scoring matrix where, all right, here's all the list of factors that are important: water rate, connection fees, long-term stability of rates, terms and conditions in the agreement being favorable, etc. And we'd have a column scoring Sussex and a column scoring Pewaukee, and see which one's most favorable for Lisbon, and then probably steer things in that direction. Could we go back one slide, please?
Yes, sir.
So we do know that for that critical area, just technically from an engineering standpoint, it makes the most sense to get served by Pewaukee, but Pewaukee indicated they had zero interest in serving anything north of County K. So that would almost have to be a split system, but I think part of our follow-up conversation is, are you sure? And then it might just be a matter of, well, if they don't want to serve all of it, are we okay with that or not? Or does that just in and of itself kind of tip it toward?
And if we have a split
Sussex.
system on there and they're connected to both, do we always switch back and forth? We don't like one?
That's an interesting thought. So it's what you have to be careful with is you have the most autonomy to make these decisions right now at the initial service spot. Once you become a customer of either municipality's water utility, then you're regulated by the Public Service Commission. And anytime you would want to switch, you can't just switch back and forth, because technically what's going to happen is these water mains, even though the village might install them, financed primarily by the money contribution from Landstone Products, those pipes are actually going to get dedicated to that municipality's water utility. They will own those assets. And then it becomes a whole sticky situation of, you can't just flop to customers, you got to transfer ownership of the pipes, and PSC has to review all that. It gets kind of sticky. I would though, but one thought that's been rolling around in my mind is with either utility, I think it would be nice if the village could advocate for a provision in an agreement that says, hey, if something happens and you switch your water source, then we have an out clause to maybe go the other route. And again, we haven't had that conversation with Sussex yet, but let's say they're faced with some kind of massively expensive improvement also of, hey, can there be some kind of out clause that if some cost of service exceeds a certain threshold over the years, can we all agree we're gonna relook at this again?
And similarly, if we end up getting our own water utility, that we would have an
That's
agreement
right.
in place to
Well,
right.
I was
purchase
thinking
back
about switching
that.
If they did
Yeah.
switch something and the cost got nuts.
So another factor is we asked both municipalities. Right now, this is only for water, not for sewer. So you might or might not be surprised, but the sewer is actually going to be more expensive because you're digging those trenches deeper to make everything flow by gravity. And then I think they would also, this area, the critical area would need a lift station. So you're talking, if the water's 8 million, I'm just gonna ballpark that sewer would be 12 million separately for the same area. And no one's,
2020 all altogether.
yeah, so no one has that extra $12 million. So being cognizant of that, we asked each municipality if they have a requirement that once you're served by municipal water, do you have to be served by sewer? Sussex was a definitive no on that. Pewaukee was a no, but if they were to switch to lake water, that could be in flux. So that'd be another out clause that I would advocate for Lisbon to have.
Because you have to return all the water to. the
Right,
lake. I mean,
right. So that would get tricky pretty quick.
So, I mean, you have this map here, but then you talked about at a previous slide, pretty much just those 4 properties on the south, right? So how did you go from one to the other?
Yeah, so real quick, and I probably should have recolored them red on the previous figure, because right now these are red solid, meaning that these should be served by Pewaukee.
Let me zoom
Whereas
in.
red with yellow hatches, it makes sense to be served by Pewaukee, but it could be served by Sussex.
See, there's no hatch marks there.
And we did ask Pewaukee staff, hey, even if all of this were to be served by Sussex, would they take these 4 on Pewaukee? And they said, yes, they would. And again, the cost savings there is, I forget the length of this, but at about, I'm gonna say now, $330 per foot of water main. That's running a lot of water main just to pick up 4 customers, so it's pretty advantageous to have them on Pewaukee.
If it's just 4 customers and they go to MMSD or the
Yeah,
lake system, that doesn't create an issue if they don't have sewer there then?
right, well, the thought
I guess you
is that, I guess I'll have to verify with the city of Pewaukee, but there's a few properties right across the street on the south side of Wire that are similarly situated,
Yeah.
so. At that point, if the city. I guess I'm assuming, but don't know, that the city already has municipal sewer on Wire.
No.
No? So then if they were in a position where they had to, then they're running it regardless, they're not running it just. And if they're running it on Wire, they would be able to pick up the Lisbon properties just like they currently have. The trick there is those 4 properties would be subject to, you know, however the city decides to pay for that. If that just gets absorbed in rates or if it's special assessed, that would kind of be outside of Lisbon's control.
And from what I understood, the amount of water usage from MMSD, the return has to be equal, or, you know, it has to be somewhat equal, so it doesn't necessarily mean every home that has water has to have sewer and vice
Yeah.
versa. It just has to net. So there could be room to wiggle from Pewaukee's side where they don't have to hook them up to sewer because they have enough return to Milwaukee.
So I'd like to talk through the schedule. If you can go ahead a couple of slides and that'll help.
Can I ask a question before we?
Yeah, sure.
With the potential County Highway K expansion,
Mhm.
is there an option to use the falls for water service along Highway K from the east?
There is not, and that's, try to make this as concise as possible. Menominee Falls is on groundwater right on the east side of Town Line Road. However, some of that groundwater comes from wells that are on the east side of the Great Lakes Divide. And the Great Lakes Compact treats groundwater that originates within the Great Lakes Basin but goes out as a lake water diversion. So Menominee Falls was able to do that because they were grandfathered in. It already worked that way before the compact was ratified. But now, if they were to go anywhere outside of their current service area, then they would have to go through a Great Lakes diversion, even though it's just groundwater. Kind of something that's a little bit maddening, like I get it, I don't exactly agree, but I get it, and been roundabout with that, kind of on behalf of Lannon with DNR for some time also.
So even if they develop that corner coming from like Landon Road to Town Line?
Let's see, from
I think their current water stops down at Landon Road
from Lannon over to Town Line.
along K.
Along K. Yeah, it would all depend, even. I'm not familiar with the exact extents of their utility service boundary. This also gets a little nuanced, but Public Service Commission says by right, your water service area boundary is synonymous with your municipal boundary. So with all of this development going on in Menominee Falls, they've kept expanding their water system to serve that. However, when their groundwater system got grandfathered in under the compact, they had an exhibit with a set service area that's smaller than their municipal boundary. So now they've got to go through the diversion process just to keep serving properties in their home municipality. It's also kind of maddening, but a long way of saying like it's never going to cross Town Line Road from Menominee Falls.
Ben, I haven't asked you about this, but putting the water lines outside of the roadway, does that create any vulnerability with those pipes freezing?
It does not, we still just make sure that they have 6.5 feet of cover. So if you go back to the slide that shows the plan sheet. Yep, this actually has an example of this. So you can see kind of the edge of pavement is this lighter color here, and you can see we kind of jog pretty far outside of that. And that's to stay out of the ditch. And that's so that we can have 6 feet of cover over the top of the pipe without having to dig it like right under the ditch. Obviously, if it's a 2-foot ditch, then your trench is 2 feet deeper than it has to be. So as long as we got the cover, we're okay. But I do anticipate, just to put something on your radar, when we come back in a couple months with even a higher level of confidence of what's going on, there might be an opportunity to flop some of the water main back inside the pavement, depending on where we're at with costs and reducing contingency, and if there'd be any advantage to doing so. But for now, at this level, we just went with what we perceive the cheapest possible way of getting it done. Which would be outside of pavement.
And you're talking about if like those Pazer ratings on some of those roads might merit.
Right,
To make
so
sense.
the Pazer ratings on a lot of these roads are 5s, where 10 is like brand new and 1 is unrecognizable. Usually when you get to a 3, it's like really bad. 4 or 5 is like, it's right on the cusp, it's okay, there's a ton of signs of visible deterioration, but the ride is still okay. You've probably still got a couple of years before you got to do something with those roads. So that might be a situation where even if, the advantage of putting the water main in the road is that at least the width of that trench patch is reasonably associated with the water main disturbance. And if it's something where the village said, well, it doesn't fit in the quarry's budget, but there's some efficiencies to be gained here if we put it in the road and just mill and overlay the roads then at full width at the end of the project, it's probably the most cost-effective time to do so as a joint project. That's something we could explore at a planning level and see if there's any interest in trying to do something like that.
So there is a possibility that Lisbon would have to pay some of this?
Only, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I frankly don't know the specific budget from the quarries. And I'm just saying if we're really close to that, but if we're looking at a situation, let's say the budget's 8 million and the project cost is going to come in like to the penny at 8 million. But let's say there's $300,000 worth of mill and overlay to be done. Well, if you put the water main in the road, let's say, and wanted to mill and overlay full width, let's say that 8 million went up to 8.1 million or 8,150,000. That would be a situation where, okay, that doesn't fit in the budget. However, it's kind of an opportunity to redo the roads at half price, which is something you might have to redo the roads in the next 5 years anyways. Do you want to go ahead now or not? It might be, this is all just purely hypothetical still at this point, but that's just kind of a scenario.
Oh, but is there any chance that any of the homeowners will be assessed for any of these costs?
There is a chance. So right now with the individual private property costs, those are still just placeholder numbers based on, frankly, some project costs that we had for Lannon a couple of years ago that we kind of escalated for inflation. Once we know who the provider is and get that kind of next level of definition of what their connection fees and everything are, we'll probably also go through a round of doing the actual design of the private property side, coming up with actual length of private service laterals, et cetera, and add more definition to
So
that.
you're talking from the road though to their house, the lateral,
Yeah, so
that's usually private anyway.
half of it is and half of it is not. So we're still on this plan sheet. Good. So normally whatever is within the right of way is public lateral And then you put the curb stop or the valve where, you know, there you could shut off or on an individual service. You put that here, and then anything from the property line to the house is private. And then if there were another structure across the street, you know, this whole section of the lateral in this public easement, and then you probably have some statutory right to a certain easement with. So from here to the main would all be public, and here into the building would be private. We would actually,
Yeah, when we put in sewer, we as homeowners paid for our own lateral from the lot line to the house.
yeah, so sewer, I don't know why it's so different, but on the sewer side, most municipalities, you actually own your lateral all the way up to and including the point of connection in the main. Not so,
It's,
Here?
we own the pipe from the house to the lot line.
okay, sure.
We put it in, we paid for every dollar.
Yeah.
It's ours.
So then the ownership split would be very, very similar for the water system.
Now, when we did the sewer years ago, I know it was negotiated that Lisbon paid the same rate as what Sussex is charged.
Okay,
Is that the same thing that's with water?
yeah, so in this situation, and it's a great question, no matter who the provider is, these homes would become a retail customer of that provider. If you were to take ownership of the pipes and have your own utility, then you'd be buying water wholesale from, let's say, Sussex. And then you would be probably marking that up and charging the customers from there. But they would basically be considered customers of the Sussex water utility. They would pay the same rate that everyone else in Sussex does.
That's for sewer
Or
and
you
water?
Just for water.
What about sewer?
No sewer planned for this area.
Sewer
Some
would
people
work
would-
the same way because we have a sewer utility. So,
I know, I
We would-
just was wondering.
yeah, so if we ever got our own water utility, then it would be the same as what we do now with sewer, but with water.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay,
So I guess just not to leave that hanging out
Yeah.
there, and this maybe Nate can, but we talked about, the question was about individual cost to individual property owners.
Yeah.
And connecting to the houses. I mean, that is certainly going to be a point that is going to be of concern, and I know we've talked
Sure,
about that
yeah.
in the past, and I think your response there was a little bit different than what we had talked about
well,
previously.
sure, I'll at least tell you the objective and then I'll look at you and you can nod in agreement or shake your head no, but the objective in this is to get to a point where there's zero out-of-pocket upfront cost for people. And that if there are project costs that don't fit in the budget, the kind of first tool would be for non-residential properties, which in this case, I believe is only the church. They're gonna have a more expensive lateral. Would they be willing to cost sharing it at all or not? But the objective is, I should say the goal is that the quarry fund be able to pay for the public infrastructure and the private cost to customers to convert it.
That's right.
Yeah, so I want that, I mean, I think that's always been
Okay.
the objective, because if
Yep.
not, I think
Right,
then the private deep wells, I mean, might be the path of least resistance, even if it's not the best idea at the end of the day.
sure, yeah, understood. And if you're hearing some hesitation for me in that, it's just the engineer and me saying, you know, we've got to add a similar level of definition to the private property costs, so we know that it fits in the budget, or I'm gonna say, you know, we were able to meet the goal. But I will tell you kind of a punchline from this tonight. I think the $8 million right now is assuming 100% of all those costs, both public and private costs. And that's, I'm told is pretty in line with Land and Stone Products expectations. We haven't had that discussion yet to say, like, does this fit? But I can tell you, my position is, it's definitely going in the right direction, with still some opportunity to even come down a little bit more once we firm things up, and hopefully that contingency comes down from 20% still. That this is looking very viable, and I think we should do what we need to yet this year so that it can be built in 2027. I can talk through some more of those steps on the schedule if you are ready to kind of get to that point.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, so if you could skip ahead a couple slides, keep going.
This
There we
one?
go. Okay, so we've given you the high points, but we're probably 90% done with our feasibility study. The extra definition that we want to add to the feasibility study are understanding the potential connection fees from each of the suppliers for one. For two, we have pricing from one contractor on the public portions of the project. We're expecting feedback from a second contractor by Friday of this week. So we'll maybe refine those. The 30% water main design is complete. What we'd like to do maybe toward the end of this month is send a formal letter, if the board is okay with that, to Sussex and Pewaukee to request service so we can have the next step of supplier negotiations. And then review everything with Land and Stone Products. And the updated costs and final recommendations, really our goal is to come back here in May. And I'm just trying to think if we could do it any sooner, but I think reasonably come back here in May with a definitive ask of having this board take action to either stop and pull the plug, which is unlikely, or to move ahead with one particular supplier. At that point, in June, we would make Public Service Commission construction authorization. So I believe that was a necessary step, like when Sussex started serving the Leeds area, Sussex will have to make application for the construction authorization. Because it's a new service area altogether, that's going to be a pretty lengthy process, and we expect that to be done by February. So on a parallel track, we would be doing final design on the water main. That's where we can kind of decide for sure, do we want this in the road or not, etc. Put together the final plans and specs. And then at some point here, start interacting with the impacted property owners to let them know, if and when you make a decision to proceed, start interacting with them on expectations, etc. When design is done by December of this year, we'll be going through DNR permitting with the objective of advertising bids a year from now. And then that'll align with when the PSC construction authorization process is final. You can go through bidding, you can award a contract. The contractor just can't put a shovel in the ground until that PSC approval comes back. So that would all kind of line up for a March 27 construction start.
It's like a 3-month project or a year long?
I would suggest this is close to a full construction season. It really depends on who the contractor is, how many crews they put on it. It's not a ton of water main. So I think honestly, you're probably in the ballpark with 3 months for installing the pipes, and then you're hopefully having time for restoration yet in the same construction year. One thing that we like to do is stipulate, we'll come up with a pretty decent estimate of project duration. And to get the best bids from contractors, we want to be as flexible with the construction dates as possible. So we'll tell them, okay, no matter what, we want this done by November 1st, 2027. You can start whenever you want. There might be a contractor out there that's like, yep, we'll take it. We'll start in September and we'll be done in November. We'll put 2 crews on it, pound it out real fast. That's fine, but we want to avoid the situation where someone says to start in March. They poke at it, they go off site to another job for a month, they come back. So we'll say you can start whenever you need to, but once you start, you have 100 calendar days to get to substantial completion or something like that. So we've gotten really good feedback from contractors on that approach, just because then if they're bidding multiple jobs, they know that they can kind of move a shorter project like this within the same construction season and still be able to go after other work, so usually helps get attractive pricing.
As far as public outreach, obviously this is a public meeting, but, what if any public outreach can we, I guess, start getting ahead of the game and explaining the why? Because I mean, this isn't a January 2026 start project. We've been working on this and in concept
Fair.
and an application for 5 years now.
Fair.
I guess from our perspective, I want people to know that this is not just a rash decision or something they have to do. This is something we've been planning
No, I think
with
that's,
LSP for a long time.
yeah, I think that's smart. We can talk about, there's lots of different ways. I would say I'll tell you how we handled it in Lannon. Lannon's a smaller community than Lisbon, both population and area, of course. But even though the water system was impacting a lot of people, it wasn't impacting everyone, but it was kind of the talk of the town, right? So in Lannon, we decided to do all zip code mailers. And we would do 5x7 postcards, with just some like quick facts, status updates. Here's where we're at. Here's who you can call, the engineer, if you want more information or whatever. And we kind of knew that even for the properties that weren't impacted, that they were going to be curious. So let's put the information out there to everybody. Let them know when the regular board meetings were going to be, where it was going to be talked about. I think we had a special public hearing and public information also that everyone was invited to. And then separately to the individually impacted properties, we sent property specific letters to them saying what their impacts were going to be. Here's the update on the schedule. Made myself available to talk with them one-on-one, invited them to come to a meeting specifically to get their questions answered. And then we actually, Lannon's process was drawn out over a couple of years. So it was probably on average, I think, 3 times a year, we were sending out either a village-wide postcard or a property owner specific letter, etc.
And that one, the difference with you guys is you did special assess, right?
Correct.
For everyone.
Correct. And the special assessments were pretty controversial.
So I think what they're doing with the County K project has been beneficial in having their meetings, even at the Sussex City Center. We
Sure.
could potentially do something like that where we have 1 or 2 public information meetings, or at like Hamilton High School or wherever. And then maybe have Ben there to give kind of an overview and board members that they can ask questions about.
And maybe it's a situation where not everyone in the village of Lisbon is going to care, but you know, if there's presumably, Dan, you send out or maybe Matt send out like a village-wide newsletter or something where you could announce it or put it on your website for everybody. But maybe for anyone that was in the whole scope area, maybe they've heard once upon a time that they were going to get water. Maybe we just send something to everyone in that area to say, hey, we studied it. It's going to be limited to this. You can still ask questions, whatever, but you know, you might have heard your property might be impacted, but it's not in this project.
And that makes more sense than doing a village-wide mailing,
Sure.
because there's 90% of people that you're just gonna confuse them and they
Fair.
can care less about this.
Fair. Yeah, so that's something where we can pull address lists out of GIS pretty easily and send mailers to them. And you know, we can talk about, you know, maybe now's the time where we're saying, hey, this is looking like it's going to be feasible. This is the direction we're going. Stay tuned for a more formal update later this spring.
Yeah, I don't want, like, to Matt's point, I don't want the 90% of uninvolved people thinking that Lisbon is now a municipal water source. And
Fair.
Well, my recommendation would be after the supplier negotiations, because if that doesn't go well, then I don't want to stir up something for a dead project. So
Sure.
let's make sure that goes through.
Yeah, and people could potentially get riled up if they heard like misconstrued Pewaukee versus Sussex or whatever.
the issues or the concerns that were expressed previously when we had a discussion with at least one of the municipalities was the non-looping, which is what this
Yep.
is. So how much of a concern is that, and has that been addressed with Sussex, for example?
Yeah, we talked about the looping issue with each community and Sussex was the one who, before we looked at anything, was like, it has to be looped. When we had the meeting with them, explained like, all right, it can't be looped, you're gonna add $1 million of cost and not add any customers. It just doesn't make sense, but instead of a loop, you'll get an emergency interconnect with Pewaukee. And they were kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, we would be all right with that. So it's kind of more of, if they're gonna take on these people as their retail customers, if there's a water main break on Town Line Road and then suddenly 100 people are without water, they didn't want to be responsible for that. So now that they know, okay, there'd be a water main break, you know, you'd have that emergency connection open within 30 minutes, if not 10 minutes. And everyone would still have water. I think they agreed, okay, it's not the best practice, but it's pretty close.
So then the related issue is if it's at the end of the line and it's not, and it's, I don't know if the right word is getting stale, but I mean, there's not, how much of a concern is that, or how have you addressed that?
Yeah, good point. So we'll put fire hydrants at the end of all of these stubs, even the private drives. And then as part of regular water sampling, Sussex will pick whichever areas are predicted to have the oldest water, and they'll test water pretty regularly. And they'll stay ahead of it if because water has chlorine in it. If it starts to lose a residual concentration of chlorine, then they'll know that the water's getting stale, so to speak, and they'll come by and they'll flush the hydrants until they pull fresh water. So they'll do that pretty regularly, and I think they do that for their own system now, where they have dead ends areas.
So is area 4 and 2 gonna be looped back to Sussex?
Could you go back to map, please? So this map is a little bit misleading because this isn't updated. This water main actually won't be here. But let's see, areas 4 and 2. Could you go
west of the quarry?
That's over here?
Yep.
Okay, what was your question again?
So is that just gonna loop back into their own system?
Yeah, correct. So they have County K, and forgive me, is this Maple?
Yep.
They have water main to this spot on Maple and here on K. So yeah, that would loop through, and then even if service were expanded, that would loop through also, because it looks like there's maybe 8 or so properties right on K here that don't have any other access to water, so.
No,
Would have to-
We're not looking at that now, that's later.
I mean, it's all gonna be in the same project.
Pretty, I would suggest that would be pretty far out there. So I haven't talked about this with anybody, but if this critical area happens in 2027, water main will get to here whenever this develops, and that developer will bring it through here. The next logical area, just based on Land and Stone studies, the next area that's kind of on the edge of where you think the critical impacts are gonna be is the industrial area. And I think what I understand from Land and Stone studies is the impact is projected to be pretty far out. They'd have to expand their operations quite a bit. So quite frankly, just me kind of licking my finger and checking the wind here, I would say 2027, this probably develops, let's say by 2030. Maybe this is also more on like a 2030 or 2035 kind of time frame, and this is like 20 years out. That's kind of my thought. I don't know.
Yeah, as far as our funding would go, that would make sense. It's the critical area right now. The critical area right now is where we've got the oldest, shallowest wells. They're the most influenced with the geohydrology by our quarry, so the stuff further out the other way, to the west. We have a lot of well monitoring there, and we just don't see it influenced by our operation, it's influenced by annual rain trends. And so we're a lot less concerned with our operations, this generation at least, we're insurance and stuff there. But like Ben said, 20 years out, all kinds of stuff looks different.
I guess, let me clarify my question, not to put essentially pipe in the ground, but those people do still have a concern. Obviously of quarry operations because of the past that happened over on Maple Avenue. So, I mean, they are cognizant of the agreement.
Yep,
So
Yeah.
I guess that conceptually, they have a stake in the game to know that they're way far out, even though they're one of the areas.
yes, that's right. Yeah, they're still under a well guarantee and everything.
Yeah.
I just, when I look at the movement of a lot of wells out that way, they should be secure for a long time.
I mean, and that could be a chunk of people that we let know right away, like, hey, you're not,
You're right.
you are in our guarantee area with LSP, but you're not. This lifetime is probably not gonna be,
Yeah,
Sure.
20 years is a long time.
because I mean, I know residents in that area still obviously are aware of the well guarantees and they, you know, they live closer to the quarry. So they may think that they're more of a immediate target, but we can definitely notice them that they're not part of the initial project.
That's a great idea.
So you are looking for action tonight.
Yeah, if we could skip ahead almost all the way to the end. Maybe the third page from the end. Again, we feel pretty good about the direction that the costs are going and the scope of the project that Landstone in concept is agreeing with that critical area. We request authorization to submit the written formal request to the potential suppliers. What that looks like, we're likely helping Dan draft a letter to send to Sussex and to Pewaukee and resume these talks in a more official capacity.
And looking on your plan here, we could pick one or the other to service the whole area, so we don't have to split up, right?
Other than those four
Other
properties
than the
directly
four.
to wire, correct, yep,
It might be nicer just to have Sussex or Pewaukee, so
right,
my bill's not $100 and her bill is $600.
sure,
Well, this
Or something
process
changes.
is that we have to pursue both options, at least so that when we present it to PSC or whoever,
Yep.
that we did our due diligence to explore both.
Yeah, whether it's
Which is
Pewaukee
what-
or Sussex, doesn't matter which one, as long as they have one.
Right, but we,
Right.
It'd be better than splitting it in half.
yep. Yep, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think the service providers totally understand that as well.
We can keep on discussing, but with that, are we ready to have a motion?
Yeah.
Right, so the recommended motion is authorization to submit written formal requests to potential suppliers. All right, is there a second to that motion? Second. All right,
Paula and Mark,
yes.
thank you.
Any other questions for Ben or any other discussion? Any questions for us while we're still going back and forth?
No,
Nate, anything you'd like to add?
No, thanks for having me out tonight. I'm really excited about this project moving forward. Thanks, everybody.
Nothing from staff to add? No?
Nope.
No, all right. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
all right, appreciate it, thank you, everyone.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
thanks, Ben.
I'm sorry about that. I was thinking that was going to be 15 minutes or
Yeah.
something like that, so.
You thought that was.
I don't know how long yours is gonna go here, so that's,
Thanks,
all
everybody.
right, have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So go back up to 8A, which is discussion necessary action on the West Heinrichs CSM, which was tabled from the last village board meeting. Dan, do you want to do a brief introduction here again, or?
Sure. So the plan commission met on this in
November,
November. Yep.
December 3rd,
That's right.
Which is November and December meeting coming on.
That's right.
correct.
So the idea was it was a 2-lot CSM. Lot 2, Mr. Heinrichs proposed a rezone. And the CSM follows that rezone exhibit. The rezone was, I believe, to be 2, or be 3, remember? But anyways, it was to rezone the parcel for a storage unit facility. Lot 2 is phase 1 of this proposed project. Lot 1 would be phase 2. The current access point for the remainder lots of Lot 3 and Lot 4 is served by a shared driveway that extends south to parcel 1, CSM 7880 and CSM 2014. Our zoning code only allows for a shared driveway to access 2 homes. And so essentially Lot 4 and Lot 3 no longer can then be built or developed with the access that's currently off of Highway Q. So the proposed CSM.
And then just on that point, lot 4 cannot be right now.
Yeah, so currently, well, Lot 4, I guess, because I don't know if you want to explain this a little better on this, but Lot 4 basically was legal non-conforming, I guess. So Lot 4,
As long as Lot 4 is not further divided, they can still access County Q. If they further divide that, it has to have its own separate ingress egress point.
So we'd have 3 lots serviced on that driveway. That's different than what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I know, and I did talk to Elisa about this a little bit after we had discussed it.
Right, but because there is a way to make it conform, it must conform.
That's before 3 has done anything to it? You have to do 4.
So 4 already exists as a separate lot right now, and then
Correct.
1, 2, and 3 is a separate other lot. So I had some thoughts and comments, and we talked about this a fair amount then. So just in the last couple hours, we're
Well, it's still the same scenario. So you still you're making a non-compliant lot for Lot 3 and Lot 4. You still cannot access Lot 3, and now because you've configured the lot lines, you've changed Lot 4. That also now is not in compliance. So you need a public access point to access both Lot 3 and Lot 4. Highway Q of Washington, or is it Washington County?
Yep.
They will not allow another access point outside of Lot 2 or Lot 1 based on the proximity of the current drive. So the proposed CSM has a dedicated roadway or hammerhead turnaround, we'll call it, that's marked on the CSM that would allow for roadway access for Lot 3 and for Lot 4. Otherwise, there would be no access for Lot 3 or Lot 4, and those lots could not be developed.
Basically, the CSM cannot exist without that T turnaround. That's the only way that they can divide this and be compliant.
So what we talked about is correct, but it's correct in that because he is reconfiguring the lots, that's where we're at.
Correct.
So it is still non-compliant for Lot 4 and Lot 3 based on the current CSM.
And when Dan spoke to me about this, I asked the question, I said, can't we just waiver it? And he said, there's no way to waiver it. So
we talked about that.
it's gotta be like a physical change to what's there.
So the 3 of us, we had a lengthy discussion on this, as did the planning commission. And so. Oh, I'm sure you were done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So. Do you want to kind of mark the, I mean, I don't know where we're at. I mean, there's been previous plan commission meetings and the village board meeting. And talking to Dan, have you reviewed that information? Do you guys have any questions? Do you want Mark to express his concerns again at the beginning, or You have,
You had something we were waiting on the snow for the DPW to.
oh,
Yeah, but I talked to Nick from Public Works. They do have routes on the other side of 164. He didn't see an issue with servicing it. He would have preferred a roundabout, but a roundabout based on,
cul-de-sac.
or thank you, cul-de-sac, but based on the setbacks of the cul-de-sac, it wouldn't fit in this spot. And I did bring that up to Orin as well. He agreed that Hammerhead was the best. He just wants to make sure that the roads that are extend out are not at the very edge of these hammerheads, because those are used to plow the snow, so they have to go somewhere. So they're gonna have to extend a different part of this. But
So
besides that, he's
to clarify, I'm not a big fan of this. Hammerhead turnaround, I don't think that's necessarily technical.
It's a T turnaround.
Yeah.
T-turn.
Only because the question I ask is the configuration of lot 1 and 2 by way of that design forcing this as the only option? And I feel that it is, because it is forcing us to do that because of how lot 1 and 2 are configured. And that's my concern with allowing this, is that there are different ways to configure lot 1 and 2 that would not cause this to now become the public at large's problem.
And not the configuring of lot 1 and 2, just the existence of lot 1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
I mean, how you configure them, it
Yes.
would be, okay, all right.
it's essentially, and which one is developed right, or which one is configured right now as in place? I guess this is, you can answer this.
Come on up, but because 4 is in place right now, and 1, 2, and 3 is a single lot.
Yes. So 1, 2, and 3, the way you're configuring it is essentially using lot 4 as the only place to go, which is not really the case. It's the only place the design is choosing to go. Because you're not limited to only putting a T turnaround there. Correct?
So I guess to clarify, what do you mean forcing?
So if you didn't put the T turnaround on lot, we'll just call it the entrance to lot 4. We wouldn't have this problem, right? Because the way the lots 1, 2, and 3 are choosing to be broken up, it's forcing the T turnaround to go on lot 4.
So the idea of the T turnaround kind of generated from the initial concern with the 3 residential lots sharing one driveway. And that a house couldn't be developed on that parcel that's west of the driveway until that got fixed. So that was brought into the scope of discussion, if you will, of how can we divide up parcels and also kind of fix this problem over here. Create it to have 2 homes on one driveway and make this other parcel be able to be used. So this is what we came up with. Initially, there was some discussion of maybe putting in a cul-de-sac or putting in a small road in between lots 1 and lot 2, coming off of Q there, but it still didn't address the 3 residential lots sharing one driveway to the west of there. So that's where, after discussion with the group and staff, that this was proposed as the most beneficial route, because it fixes the current issue that stands today. Before, like, I'm trying to do anything, there's an issue that stands today, and this proposal addresses that.
Right, but your design is creating the urgency to resolve the problem of having more than 2 lots on a shared driveway. If lot 4 only serviced 2 by design, we wouldn't have to think of putting a T here.
But it currently has 3.
I know, I'm just saying, if we weren't developing and reconfiguring other lots, we wouldn't have to address this right now because it's already in place.
So what's in place right now does not allow the owner to put a house on the lot that's zoned as future residential.
Well,
rural residential.
let's make sure we're talking the same, because that was my understanding up until 5 minutes ago. But now I thought you guys are.
that was my understanding as well, but
And you're nodding now, Lisa. What is lot 4 buildable? Or Or
I don't know the answer to
Okay.
that because I don't know when it was divided. So without knowing what the zoning code allowed at the time that those additional lots were created, I can't answer that question.
Who can?
Well, we can, I mean, we can talk
Right
to the
now,
planner,
nobody.
but I mean, the point of this is that that's not what he's proposing. He's proposing lot 1 and 2 be created, and so there is an issue. Whether lot 4 was able to be developed before or not, or lot 3, well, he's not proposing that. He's proposing lot 1 and lot 2, and
Well, he's proposing lot 1, 2, and 3.
well,
'Cause 4 already
he's
exists.
creating lot 1 and 2. Lot 3 is a remnant that then is created, but to Moonan's point about I guess I would say it's a self-imposed hardship to create this issue because lot 1 and 2 exist. You could have had access from the county in the location where either lot 2 or lot 1 is, that could have provided access to the lot to the east, and could have even been provided as a lot access to lot 4 to the west. But because of lot 1 and lot 2 being created, now Washington County does not, there is no room to have access to lot 4 or lot 3 because you need access to 1 and 2.
There's a lot going on here.
So that's where, I mean, and that's why we met with Mitch and we met with Oren, and this is basically the best solution that we could find in the case that he wanted to keep the configuration of lot 1 and lot 2, because the other option was to put a cul-de-sac in the middle of lot 1, which would have created an easement within an easement to get access to lot 3, which would not have been fitting to our code. So to fit our code, this was the only option that the engineer or the planner could come up with that would work for Heinrichs and work for the property owners.
You can't have one single road coming off as Q, like if you move lot 1 over a little bit and had a road coming straight through where the line is on lot 2, have a road come back to lot 3, that wouldn't work either?
So that can't, the way that the CSM is in front of you right now is the one that has to be voted on, yes or no.
Oh,
And it is also the one that the rezone was approved contingent upon this layout. So the lot configurations for lots 1 and 2 cannot be changed,
at all,
correct?
not even.
Now
future.
they can in the future.
We have to go through the new approval process.
They would have to start the approval process over again because the rezone is contingent upon the CSM exactly matching the rezoned area.
Understood.
Is the landowner, you're not the landowner, I'm sorry.
No, the property owner is present on Zoom.
Okay. So they're all aware of the problems with 3 and 4.
Correct.
And they're willing to move on with that?
Correct.
I mean, this potentially improves the situation for
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
And if lot 1 and 2 was a single lot, we'd still be creating a new lot and we'd still have this issue.
Okay.
And lot 4 on here is only, even though that's not changing other than the T turnaround, it's shown because it has the common ownership of the balance of the property. So even though those lot lines, I don't think are changing at all, other than the T turnaround, right?
Just at the T, yeah.
But so I mean, if lot 4, if they sold that tomorrow to someone else and it had a different ownership, we would be looking at a CSM that was only dealing with the 15 acres, which is the sum of lots 1, 2, and 3. Only reason lot 4 comes in is shown on here is because it has common ownership right now, but it does exist as a separate lot.
So if someone came in and Mr. Seller sold this right now, Mr. Homeowner, or landowner sold lot 4, there's other options for lot 4 down the road?
This would allow for more options for lot 4.
This would. Okay.
Because you would have access to the public access that is being created.
Okay.
Whether they would, like we said, we're not 100% sure. From my initial understanding was that lot 4 was not able to be built because there is already a shared driveway that extends to 2 homes on 2 properties. And the whole point of this is that you can't have three or more on a shared driveway.
So this, I'd like to drive by this, I'm just curious, this driveway actually cuts right across the lot for these two homes?
Correct, there are
Yeah.
easements there.
Well,
But I think that's been the case for a long time.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying,
I think at some point there may have been a plan that this would be a public road, but it's not reserved as a public road because there is an 80-acre, farm field south of it, but at this point, there is not a reservation on it.
I guess if the planning commission has talked and worked this out, the
But-
seller's fine with
The
it?
planning commission did not consider what the board raised at the last meeting. And we cannot go back at this point to do that.
Okay,
Correct.
so what's our options?
I mean, just to be clear, I mean, the
The
planning commission
options are
did not.
approve or deny.
Did not love, I mean, we. It was I think it was a 5-1 or
It was
6-1
a-
vote, I mean, I'm not sure if everyone was there or not, but. I mean, again, this does not look pretty and I don't like this, I mean, but yet. You're taking a situation where there's not really a great end result. Are you making an improvement here by doing this and allowing for development? I think that's the reason that plan commission came to the conclusion.
But we would allow for development if the petition was different, if the configuration of lot 1 and 2, that can still happen.
They have to start from scratch, basically, what
Yeah.
you're saying with that though.
Well, you
Maybe
have to
part of
also
that's
follow the land use line as well, which is splits. So I mean, anything to the right of basically the lot line.
Which lot line, tell me,
The
Between
one
3 and 4?
here that runs kind of along the drive, the
Okay.
darker line.
okay,
Anything to the east of that is a land use of commercial, which is what he's proposing. Anything to the west is I believe it's a residential, like 5 acres plus per dwelling unit land use. So anything Mr. Heinrichs wants to do on the parcel has to be to the east. He also has to take into consideration, what the property owner is willing to sell to him as well. But the access on Q, you're very limited because it has to be a certain distance from where the current drive is, and then keep in mind there's a quick trip access to the east of the property line. So they're gonna look at how far of distance do they want for another access, and that's just access to lot 3, potentially lot 4. So then you're kind of narrowing or limiting. Maybe creating a narrow lot that's too long that would then require a waiver from depth to width ratio, which I believe you already had anyways, but my point is it's not an easy configuration to just reconfigure the lots because you're gonna have the same issue basically no matter what configuration you have.
I thought the county said you can only have 2 driveways total for this whole chunk.
So Mark, to your point, I mean, if lots 1 and 2 was a single lot. No, we still would not, we still could not approve it without having the T because it's 5 lots being served by 2 drives as opposed to 4, because we could do 4. So the only way you could do that would be, I mean, it's because of these 2 lots that are to the south of lots 3 and 4 on the CSM, which brings it to the total number 5 if 1 and 2 was a single lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my concern is, 1, the lot does not fit our code. And 2, we're going against what the wishes of our community has agreed upon for access. I mean, if we had allowance to do that outside the code, why wouldn't we have done it already? I'm not thrilled with, from a maintenance standpoint, it's not that big of a deal, but it is a deal that we have to now burden the public with. To deal with something that we don't have to create. By putting this T turnaround.
I guess it's
not that we can't do it, I have great faith in our DPW, they can do anything they want, but should we do it? And this is not just, we have to consider the whole community at large, not just your project here, but this is a precedent setter for our community. And now we're in a unintentionally gonna be creating defenses down the line for a lot of, I think a lot of the planning commission and the board. By the way, we're gonna have to defend this to other projects when they come through with it.
I think this, the way I would differentiate this would be that it is 3 existing lots that is currently being served by 1 driveway. Right, I don't think we have many of those.
But are not, but I think the distinction I'll make there is that's not what the code dictates, it's homes, not lots.
So that's.
Well,
the
that's why
question
they
is-
can't build a house on lot 4 right now.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying is that the
Right.
distinction is not lots, lots can be land that aren't developed. Homes are services.
Well, we wouldn't allow 3 lots to be subdivided and served by a single access.
Right,
point.
but we don't have 3 homes right now.
Right, so so assuming that we're going back to what we were talking about
Right.
earlier, that lot 4 is not developable, we cannot build a house on lot 4.
I don't think we're clear on that, right?
I don't,
I think so.
Reading the current code, yes.
okay, that's the way I came into this meeting.
Yeah. And that was our discussion,
So-
and that was
so
my perception.
Hypothetically, if the southern tip of the T services lots, the current 2 homes available, and the western T services the creation of lot 4.
Mhm.
That confirms. But is there a driveway reroute already planned
For lot 3?
for lot 4 or 3?
3.
No, I don't think, because there's not a home, I don't, there's no requirement to have a driveway, and it wouldn't be an easement because
Well,
it would
the
only
planning
be.
commission for lot 3 at least, we said it was going around there and it was contingent upon it fitting. Because we couldn't get the wetlands.
Correct, it was, but that was because there was a wetland that was,
Yeah, but we couldn't
blocking.
get that, so this whole thing was contingent on the driveway going around there and actually fitting. Not there.
So it'd be 2 driveways that would each serve two lots, I mean,
A lot
Yes.
4 would have to go, it only could fit in one spot.
I think it makes the most sense for for 1 driveway to serve lot 4 and the lot to the south of lot 4 and the other. To serve lot 3 and the lot south of lot 3.
Well, 1, 2, and 3, you said that you want to put storage units on 1,
1 and 2,
1 and 2.
sorry,
yes.
yes, 2 being the phase 1 and lot 1 being the second phase.
What about lot 3? That's still zone commercial though, isn't it?
The land use is commercial, I believe it's zoned A10.
There's no
nothing
proposed
planned.
use for lot 3 right
Or-
now.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So the applicant in front of us would be purchasing lot 2 and it has an option to purchase lot 1.
Correct.
Yep, that's why we're not pursuing the rezoning of that one. I'm still looking to address and fix the issues with lot 4 not being able to be built. Currently. I think it's-
You don't want to deal with that now. They don't want to deal with that now. But doing something with 4, just leave.
Well,
it
we
alone.
are trying to make it accessible
Mm.
with this project, and that way I was brought into the scope. of my parcel division for the CSM to make it up to code. So that's what I'm trying to assist with, because as it sits today, it's not up to code, no one can build on it.
Mm.
I mean, Mark's making some good points, and we had some
Yes.
good points at the planning commission about why this is not pretty and not ideal. But I think this is unique, and there are already a driveway that serves these 2 lots, and we have the issue with what is labeled as lot 4 here, so I think it's sufficiently unique.
So the planning commission has approved this, sent it to us to either say nay or yes.
So the planning commission is a recommending body, so they recommended
Right.
approval to this body.
Right.
Has any work been done to resolve the wetland issue that was brought up at the? planning
Yes,
commission?
so there was initial work that was done, site sampling that was done in, I think towards end of November. And in the CSM, the preliminary mapping for the edging of the wetland is shown on the CSM. It's well contained within that wooded section. The engineer made an additional, boundary line, backing it off 50 feet from the, perceived wetland boundary to show that we are well far away enough that it's not something that, we would worry about as it sits today. They obviously have to wrap up their reports, in the springtime here. They're gonna finalize the report then, but they don't anticipate that boundary changing or, coming anywhere close to impacting the site.
And if it does, then this goes away, then they cannot record the CSM without that final wetland delineation. Showing that.
Must be
this-
shown,
Yeah,
correct?
this driveway can be put in place on that side of lot 3.
And I'm sorry, I apologize. Can you just tell me who you are and how you come in the picture?
My name is James Heinitz. I've been a lifelong resident of Lisbon, born and raised. My wife and I live by, the fire station, Hillside and Glenview, or, Hillside and Good Hope.
Okay.
My parents live up the road. And,
So
I
you want to
currently,
purchase this?
yeah, I currently work with my brothers. We
Okay,
have, lawn care company in the area and we are growing,
gotcha now.
busting at the seams. So it's a combination of contractor storage and
you're the buyer.
self-storage. Yes, I'm the buyer.
Okay.
So looking to have a space to promote, business growth in our community and then have a business that we can have with my family and
Mhm.
hopefully pass down. So.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? I don't know, no one's gonna feel, I can just tell the faces and the comments, that no one's gonna feel great at the end, no matter how this goes, but. Do you have anything else any other questions or anything else to add, Paula?
I mean, I wasn't at the other meeting, but I mean. There's obviously been a ton of discussion on this and it just looks like there's no. Great solution as it stands right now.
Because I think, so just to be, so there's not, so if this gets voted down. Then I mean. The way that this gets developed is lots 1, 2, and 3 cannot be subdivided. And then the issue with lots 4 and the 2 lots to the south. Would remain and. It's I mean, there's only 4 lots for 2 driveways, so I mean, that could be developed at 15 acres. But that's not, I don't know if that's a realistic
Mhm.
option, or it's gonna happen, or we could require a road to go all the way through to the south, which is. I did some measurements here, but it's a considerable distance, and I'm not sure if that's economically feasible, or is it, if it's necessary anymore to go down to that Don's property to the south.
Now, are you purchasing 1, 2, 3, and 4, the whole thing?
No,
Just 1, 2, and 3?
no,
No,
just
1
1 and
and 2,
2.
1 and 2.
Yep.
Okay, no.
3 and 4 are
sorry.
retained by the family
Yeah.
and, there's no plans for them to develop either at this time.
And there's no going back and seeing if any kind of waiver can come from Washington County to get access up on. Before
they've already said no.
they've already.
So they would allow access at the point shown on the CSM, between 1 and 2. So there is an access point there that they have approved already. That they said that, yes, if you go forward with this project, we'll approve an access point there for that commercial development
For 1 and 2?
for 1 and 2. Yes.
Where is that? Would that be?
It's directly on the northernmost border.
Okay,
It's on that's the hash mark, right?
Yep.
Uh,
The-
The hash.
And that's
what 1 and 2 are doing.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I've already had the meetings with Washington County.
Yeah,
Where the hash marks are.
Here?
Right there, yeah.
yeah.
Yep, so they've already approved that access point for the commercial access.
Hmm.
And that was part of the idea behind this, to keep the commercial access coming through at that point. And then to the west, fix the current issue that as it stands today of an unusable, unbuildable lot. Do a little T turnaround that's per the village code with the shape of the T turnaround. And keep that residential, commercial traffic away from that point.
Boy, this is tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's, for me, it's nothing. It's not like I
Nothing.
applaud you for trying to do
Yeah.
what you need to do on lot 2 and 1 if possible, but. We serve almost 11,000 people, and we have rules in place that I have an oath to protect, and we have certain understandings from the public about lots. Lot 4 does not become in confirmation with that.
So would you have I understand the concern, would you have lot 4 be undevelopable forever then, unbuildable forever?
We ever just look at making 3 and 4 one lot?
Property owner isn't interested in doing that.
But even still, if it was.
And they have separate
that-
future land use
and that-
plans.
And that, yeah, they have different land use plans, but also it would still not be be buildable because if you already have the one driveway with the two, they're serving 2 houses. Mark's point is it is houses, so
Right.
lot 4, which exists right now, is not buildable. So if they ever wanted to come and buildable, they would have to propose something exactly like we're seeing today, or a longer cul-de-sac or something along those lines. But it would have to be a public road. So that's, I think all the concerns are valid, but at the end of the day, but if we don't approve something, then lot 4 is not buildable. And I'm not saying that.
At this point,
Without change in access, and again, the property owner isn't trying to pull a building permit tomorrow, to my knowledge.
right,
But this would allow them, if this went forward, to pull a building permit tomorrow if this went forward.
however, but you can only there's 2 houses on that road, so that's what I was.
No, so then this gives you, all right.
Can I just point out on the screen?
Yeah.
Well, you're just back to where you started from then.
But
Yeah, so this
the
gives you,
current, yeah, the current road, the current driveway
Yeah,
only allows parcel
2.
1.
Yeah.
On CSM 7880 and CSM 2014 to be served right now.
But the
bottom.
property owner could, if they wanted to address that lot not being buildable, could combine the 2 current parcels into one and then have an access point off of Q so that they could access it. So there is a way to
Potentially, but
solve.
they do have 2 separate
They-
future land use
They
plans.
do, but
Then they're landlocked.
so do a lot of other
themselves.
properties.
but they knocked themselves a lot 4 here
Well, right,
years
that's-
ago. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, and who knows when this initially was done, that this drive could have been put in and no one ever thought anything of it. I mean,
I'm shocked that it's there.
I'm not shocked that it's there. I understand why they did what they did. But, I'm thinking on a global Lisbon-wide perspective, like I personally think it's not a good business decision for the community as a whole.
Well, I understand what you're saying and I agree, but there's also a good business decision to have a new
A
business
business.
in Lisbon
Yeah.
that's, that growing business and stuff too, so there's that piece of it to weigh.
Yeah, there'd be the opportunity for multiple small businesses. That's the goal behind this, provide space for small businesses to grow in our community.
But there's also, and not, you're not gonna like this one, but there's also an option not to develop lot 2 as as what it is proposed
For what reason?
for zoning reasons.
I thought it was already zoned for.
No, there was a.
The rezone is contingent upon,
CSM.
It's not what it's.
A number of
it's not what it
things.
is right now. They're rezoning it and it's contingent upon approval of this.
But it is consistent with the land use plan.
It is, yes, I agree. This is not a good situation for everyone. I just have decided I have to choose. So,
So I guess to elaborate how it could impact people in the future. I guess I don't have full understanding how it would impact.
so
Future
the current,
decisions.
the current code does not allow for private drives to service more than 2 homes.
Right.
So essentially, we're agreeing to go against our code. Should lot 4 ever be buildable?
No.
No, because-
Hold on, yeah, in the current configuration, but if the T was approved, I don't like the T. I think it's a bad thing and I think there's better ways to serve that. But again, I think we're being forced into that. So I get that it would, but I think I personally interpreted that we're going against what we have in place.
So with the T, again, I totally acknowledge that concern, but what the T does is that it takes it from a county road to a village road, and it allows them to have effectively 3 access points off of this stretch instead of 2. There would be 2 access points off of the T. Each one of those access points would serve 2 lots. So lots 3 and 4 on the CSM plus the 2 lots to the south of them. So there's 2 driveways, each serving 2 properties.
So if we did that, we wouldn't be landlocking lot 4 to
No.
not be buildable,
We could build, if this T is in here, they would put a driveway, come out here and.
right?
keep going on there.
I'm sorry, because we both missed last month. I'm so sorry. Where's the T?
It's not creating.
It's-
Where do you want to create it?
It's right here, Linda. It's on the CSM in between lot 3 and 4.
Okay, I got it.
And
That's what you're
I-
talking about. Okay.
I don't, I mean, and then it's on page 3 of our, page 2 of this, of the document as
She's got it in
well.
front of her.
Yeah,
Okay,
I got it in front of me. I've been watching it and trying to figure this out. Okay. I didn't know if you were talking about going back here further. That was all I was questioning. That was all.
So I mean, really, under our current code, the bottom side of the T will serve the 2 existing ones. Lot 4 could be divided into 2.
no,
No,
No, sorry, lot 3, I mean, lot,
no,
no, lot 3 can never be,
hold on, let me,
can't be divided.
lot 3 and 4, so you have lots 3 and 4 and the 2 lots to the south of it are served by this T with 2 driveways, and there can be no further subdividing of any of those 4 lots. Because then you'd be beyond the 4
Right,
properties for the 2 driveways. 2 times 2 is up, that's how you get to the 4.
Hmm.
So they'd all would be buildable,
Yeah, but you're running 2 driveways off the T. So.
which is the
one-
village road as opposed to the county road. And that's why that's the whole reason for that, right?
Right, but if we can serve 2, let's say, call it 2 homes on 1 shared driveway. Well, you have 1 driveway coming off the eastern portion of the T that could potentially serve 2, and then 1 driveway on the west, which could potentially serve 2. Granted, I don't know that we would approve splitting lot 3 or lot 4, but yes, technically, if you put 2 homes on lot 3, you could share it with 1 driveway coming off the T, which I think is what Mark's point is.
No, well, yeah, okay, but then 4 becomes unbuildable again.
Oh,
No,
I just drew where the driveways would most likely go.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But then you're back, if you do further subdividing, you're back to 5 lots. We don't.
What?
1, 2,
That's on the middle driveway.
But that's on this one.
Yeah, that's on the middle driveway. And then where I drew those
you're
2
saying,
lines.
you're saying a 3rd driveway is what you're saying.
Well, there already is one.
Well, this driveway is here, right? That's this 2.
Right, so you're saying a
This
third,
driveway would
right,
put 1 home here, and then this driveway.
right, so I guess
would
a
put one
third driveway.
Yeah.
Yes,
So just 'cause that's the driveway that the wetland is
You
contingent on.
being a village land, do we as a village don't have to put in a village road?
no,
No.
only what you see here,
Yeah.
Linda, only what you see.
Don't be laughing at me, I'm just asking questions.
The village would be dedicated to,
Okay.
the road would be dedicated to the village, which is our
And we just
responsibility, our
maintain it.
liability.
Yeah.
What you see right here, Linda.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay,
I've got it in front of me.
I think Rob and I are tracking on the idea of how many.
Yeah.
are possible.
but that's hypothetical, and you guys still would approve those anyways,
Yikes.
So,
so.
yeah, so just real quick, because I can't see it, but, and to address the hypothetical split comments. The parcel lot 4 is zoned as future rural residential. Which is a requirement of 5 acres, correct? I
Correct.
believe the parcel is just over that amount,
It's 5.9.
so it'd be impossible to split.
No. You could rezone it.
what's the land use plan called?
Future land use is rural density, 5 acres per dwelling unit.
Land use plan amendments.
Get a land use plan, on it. Those are possible.
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
sorry, confused.
It's all right, that's what we're.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more concerned about lot 3, and to
I'm just saying.
Mark's point is, you don't own lot 3, somebody else does, so you
Right.
can't speak to what they would want to do. And it is a commercial land use, so we don't know what they want to do either.
I mean, I was told directly by the owner that they had no plans for developments.
But we don't, so, and that's different for you guys and the landowner, but we have to worry about what could happen or like what changes. I'm fine with the concept, I just think it changes the principle of how we do business in Lisbon.
We have to change the code.
Well, essentially,
This-
we're giving allowance to the code.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
not
saying
changing, we're
this
not
is
changing
against
the
the
code,
No, I mean, this is the day, this is allowed under the code.
it's an allowance.
Do you know if there's any other potential places in Lisbon that have this same,
Well,
did we look at that at all?
No,
Cul-de-sacs and T-turnarounds, yes. In
I
order
mean,
to
we-
create access points for additional lots, yes.
Is the question, I mean, sure, there's always I mean, anything could be developed like this, but is there existing right now 3 properties on a single driveway that this could solve the issue? I mean, that's a little different question.
Yeah, and there's one actually right behind this parcel
Mhm.
that is three homes on one driveway.
And that was constructed differently and done differently and
And
again,
it doesn't involve a T. It's a straight egress to the road.
Yeah, I don't know where we would have just a small little T like this. I mean, we have small cul-de-sacs that have, 3 or 4 lots coming off of them, but I don't know that we have anything this small and stuff.
I mean, like,
We just
we-
did one a couple of years ago.
We have one in Marchese Estates. There's a T there in the termination of Marchese Estates in the northeast.
Well, I guess I just mean a very short area that's
Yeah.
public that is isolated like this, because the T at the end of Marchese is a long road that then ends at a T. It's not a.
and we have a lot of those. I mean, we have a lot of those.
Is there, I didn't see on on the T, if there's any controls for public access to the county highway? Did they talk, I don't know what Washington County talked about.
Talking about like a stop sign?
Yeah.
Well, I think we would require a stop sign going on to Q. I certainly would, I'm sure the county would require it.
Yeah, so just if I may on the area, the small section, because it would serve just 3 residential lots, that's why try to make it as minimally impactful as possible with the size we want to have a huge, it didn't make sense to have a huge road going back there on the current easements for servicing 3 homes. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I can certainly understand how maybe in full-blown subdivisions, how they have longer drives and with a T-turnaround at the end, but we just wanted to have as little impact as possible, the smallest amount of snow removal needed for a new short road essentially. That,
We already have a short road, thank you.
what,
We already have a short
I
road.
know, know the naming rights are gone.
Very short.
Actually, the name of the road is Short Road.
Yes.
If
It
you
is.
don't know.
Right across from Colgate Post Office. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's
Some-
was that it's working a while.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think, I mean, I would be voting in favor of this tonight. I mean, I think you've heard Mark would be opposed, and I think we both have explained our reasons. So, really, I mean, the question is Mark gonna make a motion to deny? Is Rob gonna make a motion to approve? And then where everyone else is gonna fall? So, I mean, are we ready for a motion on this? And we can continue debate.
really see too many other ways to do it.
I would vote for it.
Rob, you wanna make a motion?
Yeah.
The motion would be subject to plan commission.
Because we don't have that in here this is from the last meeting, right?
Correct.
I would just state that you're looking for a motion to either approve or deny the West Pine Ridge CSM contingent on planner and engineer comments. And I forget what the.
Are you
All right.
moving to approve or to deny?
And I'll second that motion.
Okay.
And so we can still have discussion, so,
I think the town board, the village board probably gave this a lot, not probably, gave this a lot of thought. And I just think it sounds like there's not a lot of choices with it.
I mean, we are the village board, you mean the plan
Yeah,
commission?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
the planning commission, yeah. And I think they've given a lot of thought to them, for them to send it to us. You know, so,
There was some heated debate over there.
pardon me?
There was heated debate over there.
The plan commission, then also that Dan had mentioned that he got together the Orin, like the play, everybody's looked at this 8 weeks till Sunday, right? And this is the
Best.
best.
Not a great situation, but there's nothing.
Based on what he
Would-
wants to do with the property, this, if you're gonna make it happen, this would be the only way to do it.
Would there be any way to say that you could put like some kind of a moratorium on building on that lot 4? I mean, I wouldn't want, and that's kind of a silly question actually for me, because I wouldn't want to tell anybody they could or couldn't build on their own property. But I
No,
mean,
but
if
I
that's
think
one of our.
what this does is it allows it to be built. I mean,
Well, I
you're
understand, but I
solving,
mean, it's-
you're solving that
that's-
problem.
Yeah.
Right,
It can be built.
That's what you're trying to accomplish. One of the things you're trying to accomplish.
Just so you know, the land use on it is commercial, so if they wanna take advantage of a commercial land use.
Not in four.
on 4, I'm sorry about
Oh.
4, not 3.
Okay. Well, that's just a residential
Yeah, okay.
lot, so I don't.
So this
It was
plan
like-
lets you build a house on 4. Let something happen on 3 commercial, or they could rezone it to residential.
And that's the,
1 and 2 get to be commercial.
Mhm.
Right, but, and just so everyone is clear, we're bound by just what's presented.
Well, sure,
It's either approve or deny what's
Right.
presented.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
understand you.
love you as a resident.
Yeah.
I love you as
Exactly
a,
here.
as a business owner, we definitely put you through the ringer, but not for your own
We're
shortfall.
trying to work through this.
It's,
I appreciate it.
it's a delicate situation, yeah. I don't
and
love
and
it.
I understand your concern with consistency too, right? You know, we be consistent in the way we do stuff, but. You know, this seems like it existed for a long time before a lot of this came in, like nobody anticipated this happening, so yes. There are, you know, black and white rules and procedures, but there's also reality, and that's just how I feel about it. You know, we just have to kind of look at each situation as it stands and just do the best we can with what we have.
Sure, but they're choosing to divide the lot the way it is, not us.
It's understood.
You know, and I personally feel there's different ways they could have done it, but it's not what's presented. to us.
I would have too.
So, I mean, I love your idea, thank you for bringing it forward to us, but, I guess we'll see which way I vote.
That's not too much to spend. All right, is there any other discussion? All right.
So we've got a motion and a second to approve, subject to plan commission, planner and engineer comments.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1.
Each thing is separate to feel, and I respect that.
I do too.
Mhm.
Good luck.
Make it nice though, please.
Send you the best, for us.
Okay.
All right, the last item before adjournment is item 9A, which is discussion and necessary action regarding a letter supporting elimination of the at-grade crossing on Highway K. You have a nice detailed information in here, Dan. Anything you wanted to highlight on this?
No, I think we're all pretty familiar with what the county is trying to do and get funding for from the, for their Highway K project. This would be just a letter that would be submitted to Waukesha County, who would then submit it to the feds on federal funding to get that grade separated bridge over the railroad tracks. So it would be whether the board is in favor of doing that or not, and if you are, then I can use their template, fill it in and get it to the county, so. I can't speak whether you guys are in favor or not, that's up to you, but that's what the Waukesha County's plan is for Highway K as it stands right now.
I know I've gone to some of these meetings, Rob has as well, I'm not sure if others have, I mean, but we all know what's going on here, and they're not looking for us to make a contribution towards the cost, I mean, it's. The county will not do this unless, I mean, the whole project, unless they get substantial, federal contributions towards this, and they think that it scores very well, and that's likely to happen. And you can't, this project really needs to happen with that separation, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember up to the, that, where that field is to the east of the train tracks, I mean, I've taken at least a handful of people that live in that subdivision asking if they can eliminate the train horn, because they know that we've worked a lot in Sussex too, and Peacock there. We've worked very hard to eliminate all the horn blowing, the unnecessary horn blowing. So yeah, I definitely support it on the backs of those people too.
And just for congestion,
Yeah, I drive that crossing every day.
so I don't go that way down for that reason.
All right, are we ready for a motion?
Ready, ready,
Now that we know what we're gonna vote.
ready.
Better.
Pretty unanimous.
Well.
So,
You have to have a reason though.
so, someone wanna make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the letter supporting donation of an active crossing on Highway C.
I second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0 at 8:34.
Lovely.
Right.
Hang on.
What are you gonna call it?